The stars over Sector 9 had always been silent. For generations, the Confederacy had guarded its edges with the same calm certainty. No strange ships were ever reported here, and no unauthorized signal had ever crossed their patrol lines. The officers of the sector patrol almost found the work boring. They were trained for war, equipped with advanced detection systems, and yet most of their duty was watching empty space. Commander Thalen of the Clyar species sat at the front of the patrol cruiser Silver Watcher. His four eyes blinked slowly as his sensors reported the usual: dust clouds, distant stars, drifting rocks. Nothing more. "This sector remains quiet," reported Officer Reen, his voice flat. "No ships, no transmissions." As always, Thalen gave a slow nod. "Quiet means safe. Safe means the humans are far from here. That is the way it must remain." The very mention of humans made the crew uneasy. The Confederacy spoke of them often, but always in warnings. Humans were said to be reckless, unpredictable, and too bold for their own good. They lived far away, separated by stretches of space the Confederacy carefully closed off. According to all maps, humans did not and could not reach this sector. But then the alarm rang. At first it was soft, like a whisper from the sensors. A weak signal, almost too faint to register. Reen leaned closer to his station. His three hands danced across glowing keys as he checked the readings again. His frills stiffened in surprise. "Commander, we are receiving a distress call." Thalen's upper eyes narrowed. "From where?" "Sector 9, coordinates 324. Near the dying star." "That cannot be," Thalen said. "No ships are scheduled in that region. No colonies exist there." Reen turned his head slowly, disbelief showing in his eyes. "It is not Confederacy code, Commander." "It is foreign, and yet familiar." Thalen rose from his seat. His scales shifted to a darker shade, a natural response to tension. "Play it." A crackling sound filled the command deck. Static hissed, then a broken voice came through. The language was rough, but the translators worked quickly. "This is emergency. Request assistance. Engine failure. Coordinates locked." The crew froze. Every being on the deck recognized the tone, the strange but clear rhythm of the words. It was human. Silence fell, broken only by the faint hum of the ship's systems. No one spoke for a long moment. Reen was the first. That is impossible. Humans cannot be here. The border holds. Their technology cannot cross this distance," another officer whispered. Yet we all heard it. Thalen forced calm into his voice. "Recheck the signal. It could be an old transmission echo." "A trick." Reen's fingers worked quickly. He shook his head. "No, Commander. The signal is fresh. It repeats every 22 seconds. Power is weak, but it is no ghost." Thalen's chest tightened. He wanted to deny it, but the evidence glowed before him. "Send the reading to Central Command. Mark it as urgent." Within minutes, the response arrived. The order was simple: investigate immediately. Confirm or deny, Thalen knew why. The Confederacy prided itself on control. If humans had slipped past defenses, the Council would demand answers. If the signal was real, then history itself might be changing. The Silver Watcher turned toward the coordinates. Its engines flared blue against the dark as the crew whispered among themselves. "What if it truly is human?" one asked. "They are dangerous," said another. "We should destroy it before it grows into trouble." Reen shook his head. "Or study it. Imagine the secrets a human ship might hold." Their voices carried fear and curiosity in equal measure. Hours passed as they crossed the quiet stars. At last, the dying red giant came into view. Its light was weak, its surface trembling as it collapsed in slow death. Around it floated rocks and debris. And near those rocks, there! Reen shouted, pointing. On the main screen, the image sharpened. A ship floated in the darkness. Its hull was gray, its shape smaller and less sleek than Confederacy designs. Scars of travel burned across its sides. Faint lights blinked along its surface, weak but alive. Thalen's heart sank. He had never seen a human craft in person, but the records were clear. This was one. "By the stars," whispered an officer. "It is real." The crew stared, caught between awe and fear. Reen's sensors confirmed it. Human signature. Energy core failing. Life signs. Present but weak. 4, maybe 5 beings still alive inside. Thalen's claws tapped the rail as he thought. He could order weapons fire and end it now. No one would question him. The Council feared humans more than they respected them. Yet part of him hesitated. To destroy a struggling ship without question felt dishonorable. And if this was the first contact in centuries, could they afford to waste it? He spoke at last. Prepare a boarding team. We will see the truth with our own eyes. Gasps rose from the crew. Some muttered protests, but Thalen's voice cut through. If humans have crossed into this sector, it changes everything. We must know how. We must learn what they carry. The Silver Watcher crept closer. Drones detached and scanned the drifting vessel. No weapons powered up, no traps. It truly was broken, not bait. Docking clamps extended, locking onto the alien hull. The boarding team suited up. Their armor gleamed silver, their weapons ready though lowered. As the hatch hissed open, a smell of burned metal and smoke drifted out. The corridors inside were dim, flickering with dying lights. The team moved cautiously, scanning every corner. They found them soon. 4 humans lay inside the control room. Their faces were pale, their breaths shallow. Yet their eyes opened as the aliens entered. The human leader, a man with sharp features and tired eyes, struggled to rise. His voice was weak but steady. We are not your enemy. Please, help us. The translator carried his words into clear Confederacy speech. The boarding team froze, unsure how to respond. The humans were real. Alive. Here, in the Forbidden Sector. The report reached Commander Thalen. He sat in silence for a long moment, his mind racing. This was no error, no ghost signal. The impossible had happened, and with it the stars no longer felt silent. The discovery of the human ship spread across the Silver Watcher like fire across dry fields. Every officer, every crew member whispered the same question. How did they get here? Commander Thalen stood in the command room, his 4 eyes fixed on the live feed from the boarding team. The image of the humans lying inside their ship, weak but alive, replayed again and again in his mind. He had always believed the old warnings. Humans were dangerous, unpredictable, and above all, far away. Yet here they were, only a few steps beyond his docking bay. Commander, Officer Reen said, breaking the silence, what are your orders for the prisoners? Thalen's scales darkened at the word. They are not prisoners. They are survivors. Bring them aboard carefully. Isolate them, but do not harm them. The boarding team followed the command. One by one, the 4 humans were carried out of their failing ship and into the Silver Watcher. Medical crews rushed them into containment rooms where life support could stabilize their condition. As the doors sealed, whispers grew louder among the crew. Some feared infection, others feared hidden weapons, but all of them felt the same rising unease. This was history unfolding, and none of them knew if it would end in peace or disaster. The human captain hours later, when their strength returned enough for speech, Commander Thalen entered the isolation chamber. A layer of clear shielding separated him from the humans. Inside, they sat on medical beds, breathing more easily now. The one who seemed to lead them lifted his head. His hair was dark, his face lined with exhaustion, but his eyes were sharp with determination. He spoke first. My name is Captain Ward, the translator reported in smooth Confederacy speech. We did not come here by choice. Our ship was dragged through a rift. We only seek repair and survival. Thalen's upper eyes narrowed. Dragged through? Explain. Ward nodded weakly. We were exploring the edge of our mapped space. A gravity storm opened without warning. It pulled us in beyond our control. When we came out, our systems were damaged and our charts made no sense. We sent a distress call hoping someone would hear. We did not expect you. The other humans sat quietly, their eyes wary as they studied the aliens who now controlled their fate. Thalen considered the story. Gravity storms were rare, unpredictable, and feared by all species. He had lost ships to them himself. It was possible, yet still troubling. You are far from your world, Thalen said. Farther than your kind was ever thought to reach. Why risk such dangerous regions? Ward gave a tired smile. Because we are human. We go where we are told we cannot. We survive where others say survival is impossible. The words echoed in the chamber. Thalen felt a chill. This, he realized, was why the Confederacy feared humans. Not their weapons, not their numbers, but this strange spirit that refused limits. The debate begins news traveled quickly. By the next cycle, Central Command had been informed. A secure transmission arrived, carrying the voices of the Council. Their faces appeared as shimmering images on the main screen of the Silver Watcher. You will bring the humans to the central station, one counselor ordered. Do not trust their words, warned another. They may lie. They may scout for war. Others debated openly, their voices sharp. Some argued the humans should be destroyed at once to prevent spread of panic. Others urged study, hoping to learn how they had crossed such vast space. Commander Thalen stood before them, calm but firm. I recommend restraint. They are injured travelers, not an armed fleet. Their vessel shows no sign of hidden weapons. We should learn the truth before making final judgment. A long silence followed. Finally, the council leader spoke. You will hold them under guard until we decide. Do not release them. Do not destroy them. For now, they are your responsibility. The transmission ended, leaving the crew tense and uneasy. Curiosity and fear. While the council debated in distant halls, life aboard the Silver Watcher shifted. Guards stood outside the humans' chamber at all times, yet many crew members found excuses to pass by. They wanted to see with their own eyes the creatures they had only heard about in stories. Some stared with open fascination at the humans' strange bodies. Only 2 eyes, soft skin, no scales, no horns. Others whispered that such fragile beings could never be as dangerous as the council claimed. Yet those who looked longer saw something unsettling. Despite their weakness, despite their broken ship, the humans carried themselves with a quiet confidence. Their eyes were sharp, always watching, always calculating. It was as if they were already planning their next step. Officer Reen admitted his worry to Thalen one evening. Commander, forgive my words, but I feel unease. They should be afraid. Instead, they wait, as though they know something we do not. Thalen gave a slow nod. That is the human way, I think. They do not fear limits. They see only paths forward. A visit across the shield on the 3rd day, Thalen returned to speak again with Captain Ward. The human had regained much of his strength. He stood now, hands resting calmly behind his back like a soldier in waiting. Your council debates our fate, Thalen said through the shield. Some wish to end you. Others wish to study you. Few trust you. Ward did not flinch. I expected no less. But ask yourself, Commander, if the situation were reversed, would your people leave strangers to die, or would they offer help? Thalen hesitated. The Confederacy claimed to value honor, but in truth, they often chose safety over mercy. You ask dangerous questions, Thalen said. I ask only for honesty, Ward replied. We did not come to your sector to spy, to steal, or to harm. We came here by accident, but our presence proves something your council may not wish to believe. And what is that? That humans are not limited to one corner of space, Ward said firmly. You thought us trapped, yet here we are. If one ship can cross, more will follow. You can fear it or you can prepare for it. The choice is yours. Thalen studied him closely. The words were bold, almost reckless, yet not arrogant. Ward spoke as though describing a simple truth. The broken ship, meanwhile, engineers examined the human vessel. Its systems were old compared to Confederacy standards, yet cleverly designed. The drive core was damaged, but its structure showed resilience. Even broken, the ship had survived a storm that destroyed many alien vessels before. One engineer muttered, crude but strong, like the humans themselves. Another said, if they built this with limited resources, imagine what they will build if they gain more. The thought spread like an infection. Awe mixed with fear, respect mixed with suspicion. The humans had crossed a line that was never meant to be crossed. A silent decision commander, Thalen stood once more in his quarters, staring at the stars outside. The council's final order had not yet arrived, but he already sensed the storm ahead. The humans were alive, awake, and unbroken. They had survived the impossible and now stood in the center of the Confederacy's greatest secret sector. His ship, his crew, and perhaps his entire people stood at the edge of a new chapter in history. Thalen's claws tapped the control panel slowly as he whispered to himself. The stars are no longer silent, and nothing will be the same again. The Silver Watcher hung silent above the dying star, a single ship carrying a weight far greater than its size. Inside, the humans remained under guard, their small craft secured in the docking bay like a relic from a forgotten war. And across the Confederacy, word of their existence had begun to spread. Commander Thalen felt the pressure in every message he received. The council demanded reports. The fleet sent questions. Even the common stations whispered of the strange beings who had crossed the barrier of distance and fear. The humans had become more than survivors of a storm. They had become a test for the Confederacy itself. The first Council Thalen's orders came swiftly. He was to present his findings before a special gathering of the Council via secure transmission. The chamber of voices filled his command deck. 12 counselors, their faces shimmering as pale holograms, each representing a different species of the Confederacy. Counselor Velix of the Cerni spoke first. His long tendrils waved with agitation. "Commander, explain how a human ship stands in our sector. Explain how your patrol failed to stop it." Thalen kept his voice steady. "The ship was not an intruder by design. It was caught in a gravity storm and thrown into our space. Its crew was near death when we found them." Another counselor, sharp-eyed Torval of the Varen, hissed. "Do not excuse them. Humans are known for lies. They may have built a way through the storms. If so, others will follow. We must act now to erase them before the infection spreads." A murmur rose across the chamber. Some nodded in agreement, others frowned. Counselor Reinar of the Avesh raised a feathered wing. "Erase them? For what crime? They are 4 travelers on a broken ship. Is that reason enough for execution?" "They are humans," Torval snapped. "That is reason enough." The debate turned sharp, voices rising and clashing. Some feared the humans as a threat waiting to bloom. Others saw them as an opportunity for knowledge. Through it all, Thalen remained quiet until the leader of the council, Elder Maro of the Ocean, spoke in a deep, steady tone. "Commander Thalen, you have seen them face to face. Tell us, what are these humans to you?" Thalen hesitated. The memory of Captain Ward's eyes returned to him, tired but filled with resolve. "They are not what the stories claimed. Fragile, yes, but unbroken. Even in weakness, they carry strength. They did not come as soldiers. They came as survivors. I believe their presence is not an attack, but a sign that humanity is no longer bound to its corner of the stars." The chamber fell silent at his words. Some were unsettled, others thoughtful. Elder Maro gave a slow nod. "Then the debate must continue. We will gather again after further study. Hold the humans where they are. Do not let them wander." The transmission ended. The voices faded, leaving Thalen alone with the weight of his testimony. Among the crew, the council was not the only one divided. The crew of the Silver Watcher carried the same split within their hearts. Some of them, like Officer Reen, grew curious. He studied the humans through the shield, asking questions about their language, their food, their machines. Reen often returned to Thalen with observations. How quickly the humans healed, how cleverly they repaired even small tools with little resources. Others muttered warnings. "They are too calm," said one. "They are waiting for a chance to strike," said another. Guards sometimes gripped their weapons tighter when Ward approached the shield with quiet steps. Even so, a strange respect began to grow. The humans did not beg, nor did they rage. They simply endured, waiting with patience that felt both admirable and dangerous. Words. Across the barrier, one evening, Thalen returned to the isolation chamber. The lights inside were dim, casting shadows across the walls. Captain Ward stood waiting on the other side of the shield. "You spoke for us," Ward said. His voice was calm, but there was a trace of gratitude. "The council listens to you." Thalen shook his head. "They listen only to their fears. My words may not matter in the end." "Yet you spoke," Ward said. "That matters. In our history, there were always those who stood between fear and truth. Without them, we would have destroyed ourselves long ago." Thalen studied him carefully. "You speak as though humanity is united, yet records describe you as divided, often at war with yourselves." Ward gave a faint smile. "Both are true. We argue, we fight, but in the face of survival, we stand together. That is why we are here. That is why, even if we die, more of us will follow." The words struck Thalen with quiet force. He thought of his own people, careful and cautious, building walls to keep danger away. The humans, by contrast, seemed to leap into the unknown with open hands, ready to burn or to build. "Perhaps," Thalen said slowly, "that is what the council fears most." The engineers' report days passed, and the ship's engineers brought new findings to Thalen. "The human vessel is small," the chief engineer reported, "but it survived damage that would have torn apart a Confederacy scout craft. Their materials are not advanced, but they are layered with unusual strength. Their design is crude yet efficient. Every piece serves more than one purpose." He placed a small device on the table. "This is part of their engine core. It shows signs of being repaired again and again with little more than scraps. They do not waste. They adapt. Thalen examined the part. It was rough, uneven, yet it still functioned. They survive by necessity, he murmured. Yes, the engineer agreed. And that makes them dangerous. If they can reach us with so little, what will they achieve when they have more? The council gathered once more. This time the debate was fiercer. Destroy them, Torvald demanded, before others come. Study them, countered Reinar. We can learn resilience from their kind. They will spread chaos, Velix argued. Humans cannot be trusted to follow law. Thalen stood again before their questions. He reported the findings, the resilience of their ship, the spirit of their captain. His words did not calm the chamber, they stirred it. Elder Morrow at last raised his hand. Silence fell. We see the truth now. The humans are not bound by our maps. They are a rising force, whether we allow it or not. The question before us is not whether they exist, but whether we choose to meet them as enemies or as partners. No decision was reached that day. The council adjourned with tempers high and thoughts unsettled. The waiting game back on the Silver Watcher, the humans continued to heal. They spoke more often with Reen, trading simple words, exchanging small gestures of curiosity. One even laughed softly when Reen clumsily attempted a human phrase. Yet Captain Ward remained serious. He studied the stars beyond the viewing window, his mind clearly turning over thoughts he did not yet share. When Thalen approached him again, Ward said quietly, Your council debates. I hear it in your voice. They do not know whether to kill us or to learn from us. That is true, Thalen admitted. Ward's eyes shone with quiet fire. Do you know what they fear most, Commander? Not that we are here by accident, but that we will come again by choice. They fear that humanity will not stay where it is told. Thalen gave no answer. The truth of it was already clear. A quiet realization. As the ship orbited the dying star, Commander Thalen felt the weight of change pressing down. The Confederacy had always trusted in distance, in walls of silence and fear. Now that silence was broken, the humans had not arrived as conquerors, but their very presence challenged the order of the galaxy. They were proof that the maps were wrong, that the future was uncertain, that new voices would soon rise among the stars. And Thalen knew, deep within, that no council decree could erase that truth. The tension aboard the Silver Watcher had grown thick like the dust of a dying star. Every glance toward the humans carried unspoken questions. Were they truly innocent? Or was their calm a mask for something more dangerous? Commander Thalen paced the command deck, the flickering lights reflecting off his scales. The council's decision was still pending, but whispers of doubt reached even this remote patrol. Some council members advocated for immediate removal, others for observation. Meanwhile, the humans waited, silent yet vigilant, as if they knew their trial was only beginning. And in a way, it was. A new crisis, it came suddenly. Sensors aboard the Silver Watcher detected a massive asteroid swarm, drifting near a heavily trafficked Confederacy trade route. The swarm had formed in a matter of cycles, shifting unpredictably with the dying star's weak gravitational pull. Patrols had tried to clear it before, but the rocks were too numerous, and even the strongest fleets could not move them quickly enough. Several freighters had already been damaged, and the Council demanded immediate action. Commander Thalen studied the readings with furrowed eyes. This is no ordinary swarm, he muttered. These rocks will destroy ships, and we are the only ones close enough to intervene. His officers looked uneasy. The patrol ships in the area were large, armed, and experienced. Yet for all their firepower, even they could not manage such chaos. Reen spoke hesitantly. Commander, perhaps the humans could help? Thalen paused, considering. Using the humans in this mission could be seen as reckless, but it was also a chance, an opportunity to see their capabilities firsthand. He sent the proposal to Central Command, explaining that the humans could attempt the task under supervision. The Council was divided, but curiosity outweighed caution. The order came back. The humans would participate in the clearing mission. Preparation Captain Ward and his crew were briefed. They listened carefully, eyes sharp, noting the positions of asteroids, the routes of freighters, and the timing of patrol interventions. Unlike the alien teams, they had no massive shields, no advanced weapons, and no energy beams to move the rocks. All they had was clever engineering, quick thinking, and their small but resilient ship. "Do not underestimate them," Ward told his crew quietly. "The Confederacy will watch. Success matters more than survival here." The humans worked swiftly, adapting their ship for the task. Small thrusters were repurposed for fine movements. Tools were reinforced, cables rerouted, and energy from damaged systems carefully balanced. Every adjustment was precise, reflecting the crew's ingenuity. Thalen watched with a mixture of fascination and anxiety. This was not war. It was a test of skill, judgment, and courage. And yet he realized humans seemed to thrive in moments of impossible challenge. The asteroid swarm loomed larger as the humans approached. Jagged rocks drifted in unpredictable paths, some the size of patrol ships, others smaller but still deadly. Sensors strained to track every movement. Even the best piloting software struggled to calculate safe trajectories. The alien officers whispered among themselves. "They will fail," one predicted. "Too small. Too fragile. They cannot compete with our fleets." Thalen said nothing. He had learned not to underestimate humans. Captain Ward's voice came through the translator, calm and clear. "Focus on the paths, not the obstacles. Observe the rocks, predict their movement, and move with them. The swarm is alive, but it obeys physics, not fear." The human crew worked in perfect coordination. One pilot adjusted the ship's thrusters to nudge a small asteroid away from a freighter. Another activated a makeshift tether to shift a larger rock gradually. Sparks flew, lights flickered, but every movement was deliberate. For the first time, some of the alien officers watching closely gasped in disbelief. The humans were doing what their fleets had failed to do for decades. A moment of danger. Halfway through the mission, disaster struck. A cluster of massive asteroids broke formation, heading directly toward a freighter. The alien patrol ships hesitated, unsure how to respond without causing a collision themselves. Ward's eyes sharpened. "We go now," he shouted. The humans maneuvered their small ship between the freighter and the swarm. Using a combination of thrusters and tethered cables, they diverted the largest rocks just enough to change their course. Sparks flew across their hull, alarms blared, and yet they held steady. Thalen watched from the command deck, heart pounding. The humans were risking everything, yet they moved with precision and courage. No hesitation, no panic, only problem-solving, adaptation, and relentless focus. When the last rock passed safely, the freighter was unscathed. A stunned silence filled the observation deck. The alien officers had witnessed what they had only heard of in tales. Humans turning impossible situations into success. Admiration and awe. Once the mission ended, the humans returned to the Silver Watcher. The ship was scratched and scarred, but the crew was intact. Captain Ward smiled faintly at Thalen. "They will watch us closely," Ward said, "and we will show them what humanity can do when faced with impossible odds." Thalen nodded slowly, understanding the truth in Ward's words. These humans were not just survivors. They were problem solvers, engineers, and thinkers who refused to yield. The alien officers could not hide their admiration. One muttered, "I have never seen such precision, such courage in all my years." Another added, "They do not fight with weapons alone. They fight with mind, will, and teamwork." Even Reen, who had been cautiously optimistic before, now felt a deep respect. "They are remarkable," he admitted quietly. The Council's response news of the mission reached Central Command quickly. The Council received live reports and recordings of the humans' actions. The debates that followed were louder and more intense than before. "Destroy them immediately," Torvald demanded. "If they can do this with a single ship, imagine what a fleet could do." Reinar shook his head. "We cannot ignore them. Their skill and ingenuity are unlike anything we have studied. Perhaps they can teach us if we approach wisely." Elder Morrow remained calm. "The test is complete. The humans have shown courage, skill, and intelligence. We now know their value. They are not mere travelers. They are a force to be recognized." The Council did not yet decide what to do with the humans, but one thing was certain. Fear and respect now walked hand in hand. The humans had earned a place in their calculations, whether they liked it or not. Quiet reflections back aboard the Silver Watcher. The humans repaired minor damages from the mission while maintaining their usual calm demeanor. Captain Ward walked to the observation deck, staring at the stars beyond. Thalen joined him, hands resting lightly on the railing. "You have impressed everyone," he said. Ward nodded. eyes focused on the distant constellations. We do not seek glory. We seek survival and perhaps a place in the stars that is ours by right. Today was proof that humans do not stop at obstacles. We adapt, we endure, and we move forward. Thalen's eyes softened as he considered the truth in those words. The humans were unlike any species he had encountered. They were smaller, less armed, yet stronger in ways that could not be measured. They have changed the Council's view, he admitted quietly. They have changed your view, Ward said. You see us now as more than stories or warnings. You see potential. That is enough for now. A new reality. As the Silver Watcher drifted above the dying star, the humans settled back into their temporary quarters. They were not free, but they had proven themselves. And the aliens, for the first time, began to wonder what humanity could achieve if given the chance. The Council would debate, the fleets would watch, and the galaxy itself would take note. One small ship, one small crew had shifted the balance of perception. The humans were no longer bound by distance or fear. They had survived the impossible, and in doing so, they had shown that strength was not always measured in size or weaponry. And somewhere deep in the hearts of the Confederacy officers, a quiet realization took hold. Humans were coming, not as invaders, but as a challenge that could not be ignored. The stars above Sector 9 had grown quieter, yet their silence now carried a warning. A new player had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The stars over Sector 9 shone quietly, but the calm was deceptive. Word of the humans' survival, their ingenuity, and their courage had spread far beyond the Silver Watcher. Every council station, fleet command, and trade outpost now knew that humans were no longer a distant legend. They were real, and they had proven their strength. Commander Thalen paced the observation deck, watching the humans inside the ship's docking bay. Captain Ward and his crew moved calmly among their small quarters, repairing their vessel, checking systems, and quietly preparing for the next challenge. The humans had survived a storm. They had navigated an impossible asteroid field, and they had outshone every expectation the Confederacy had held. Now, the question hung over the galaxy like a shadow. What would they do next? The Council Response Central Command had convened once more, this time with every species represented. The debate was furious, voices clashing with frustration and awe. They cannot be allowed to continue, Torval hissed, his tentacles curling in anger. They are reckless, clever, and unstoppable. If one small ship can do this, imagine what a fleet could do. They have not attacked, Reinar argued, feathers bristling. They have shown no aggression. They are capable, yes, but we have not seen malice. They may be studied, perhaps even guided. There is value in that. Elder Morrow spoke calmly, silencing the chamber. The humans are different from any species we have known. Strength does not lie in weapons alone. They survive through courage, intelligence, and adaptability. They will not be stopped by fear. We must decide how we face this truth. No decision was reached, but the tone of the council had shifted. Fear now mingled with respect, and a cautious understanding took root. Humans were no longer a distant problem. They were a reality the Confederacy would have to confront. Humans observing the Watchers aboard the Silver Watcher. Captain Ward watched the Alien Council's responses through the secure communication line. Though the humans could not hear the exact words, they understood the tone. The aliens were frightened. Not of destruction, but of possibility. Ward turned to his crew. They are afraid, he said softly. Not of us attacking, but of what we represent. They fear what humans can achieve, even without intent to harm. One crew member, a young engineer named Lyra, nodded. We survived because we worked together. Because we did not give up. That is enough to make them uneasy. Yes, Ward agreed. And one day they will see that humanity cannot be contained. Not by distance, not by walls, not by fear. The humans returned to their tasks, quietly repairing their vessel, testing its systems, and preparing for the journey home. But the galaxy around them had changed. They had become a symbol, whether they wanted it or not. The test ends, but the story continues. The asteroid field had been cleared, the mission complete. The humans had proven themselves capable, and the aliens had witnessed it firsthand. Yet no council decree allowed the humans to leave freely. They were under watch, their next steps carefully monitored. Thalen knew the council would debate endlessly before allowing any freedom. Yet he also knew that by now no one would underestimate the humans. Their success had shown that size and weaponry were not the only measures of strength. Intelligence, resilience, and courage mattered, and humans had all three in abundance. For the first time, he felt a quiet admiration for them. "They are remarkable," he whispered to Reen. "Not just in what they do, but in how they do it." "Calm, clever, and unyielding," Reen nodded. "I had heard stories, but nothing prepared me for this." They are something new," Thalen agreed, "and the galaxy will notice soon enough." The departure after cycles of observation and repairs, the human ship was ready to leave. The docking clamps released with a hiss, and the small vessel floated free, its lights flickering but steady. Thalen and his crew watched as Captain Ward approached the observation window. He raised a hand in silent acknowledgement, and Thalen felt the weight of that gesture. It was not just a farewell, it was a message. Ward's eyes met Thalen's through the glass. "We did not come to conquer," he said softly. "We came to survive. But remember this, humanity will not be contained. We will explore, we will endure, and we will reach places no one expects." Today was only the beginning. Then the human ship activated its engines, moving steadily into the darkness of space. The Silver Watcher watched as it disappeared among the stars, leaving behind a trail of quiet awe and a galaxy that had begun to change. The aftermath, once the humans left, the council convened again. The alien leaders debated what to do next. Some insisted on stronger patrols and more aggressive containment. Others suggested cautious alliances, reasoning that humanity could be an asset rather than a threat. Even those who had feared the humans most were forced to acknowledge their skill, courage, and ingenuity. Whispers filled the council halls. If one small ship could survive and succeed like that, what could an entire human fleet achieve? The question was unspoken, but its weight hung over every decision. The galaxy had seen the first proof that humans were different, and fear, quiet, growing, and respectful, had begun to spread. Reflections on the stars back aboard the Silver Watcher, Thalen reflected on everything that had happened. Humans had come by accident, yet they had changed everything. They had survived a storm, navigated the impossible, and shown the Confederacy that strength could come in unexpected forms. He looked at the stars, stretching endlessly before him. "They are unlike any species we have known," he said softly. "Not because of their weapons, but because of their spirit. They are clever, brave, and unyielding, and one day, they will reach further than we can imagine." Rian nodded, staring at the same distant lights. "I thought humans were stories, myths told to warn us. But they are real, and they are something more." "Yes," Thalen said quietly, "something more. A new reality." The humans' departure marked the beginning of a new chapter. Though no battles had been fought, though no weapons had been drawn, the galaxy now knew. Humans were here, humans could survive, and humans could change the balance of power with nothing more than ingenuity, courage, and will. The patrols doubled. Fleets grew more vigilant, and councils debated endlessly. Yet all the while, somewhere deep in the hearts of every alien leader, a quiet thought persisted. Humans could not be ignored. And that realization, more than any weapon, more than any fleet, marked the true beginning of humanity's presence among the stars. Closing thoughts as Captain Ward's ship disappeared into the distance, he allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. Humanity had survived the impossible. They had faced fear, danger, and doubt, and had prevailed. The galaxy would now be forced to notice, to calculate, to fear, but also perhaps to respect. Humans had crossed boundaries, survived storms, and outsmarted challenges that had defeated countless others, and the stars themselves seemed to shift in acknowledgement. A new player had arrived in the cosmic stage, uninvited, unstoppable, and unforgettable. For the Confederacy, for the fleets, and for every being watching from afar, one truth became clear: the humans were no longer stories. They were reality, and the galaxy would never be the same again.